There was an old man who slept outside a compound near a quiet neighborhood. Every night, he would carefully spread a large nylon sheet on the ground beside the security post, lay down his tiny pillow, and drift into the cold embrace of the night. In the afternoons, he became a different man, the humble shoemaker who sat under a tree by the roadside, mending torn sandals and patching worn shoes for passers-by. His tools were old, and his hands were rough, yet his smile never faded. Still, anyone could tell he didn't make much. Perhaps a few hundred a day, maybe 1,000, if business was good. I often saw him from my window. There was something about him, a quiet sadness that lived behind his gentle smile. Sometimes I packed him food from my kitchen, other times I slipped him a few notes. And every time I did, he would hold the food like it was gold and say softly, "God bless you, my child." But I could tell his blessings came from a lonely heart. One evening, I sat beside him and asked softly, "Baba, where is your family?" He paused, sighed deeply, and said, "I have none." His words sank into the air like stones dropping into water. "I never married," he continued, his voice trembling. "I used to believe that life was too busy for such things. I worked and worked, and before I knew it, age caught up with me. My parents died long ago. My friends all disappeared. Now it's just me and my work." A single tear rolled down his cheek as he added, "I only wish I had a wife or a child. Someone to talk to, someone to call my own." At that moment, my heart broke. I had so many questions. Why didn't you marry? Did life turn against you? Were you afraid of love? But I swallowed them all. Because right then, none of the answers mattered. Here was a man in the sunset of his life, with no one waiting for him, no one to care, no one to remember him when he was gone. From that day, I made a silent vow. As long as I lived in that house, Baba would never go hungry again. Every evening, I would share my dinner with him, and his eyes would light up like a child's. I didn't have much, but it felt right, because love isn't always about giving wealth. Sometimes, love is as simple as sharing your bread with someone who eats alone. One cold morning, I woke up early to catch a flight. As I walked past the security post, I saw Baba sleeping peacefully under the little shed he had made for himself, a thin blanket, an old pair of shoes beside him, and a half-used bottle of water by his head. For a moment, I stood still and whispered to myself, what if one day he sleeps and never wakes up? Who would cry for him? Who would bury him? Who would even notice that he was gone? Tears filled my eyes as I walked to my car. And on my way to the airport, I whispered a quiet prayer. Lord, please don't let me grow old and alone. Don't let my last days be empty. Give me people to love, and people who will love me back. Because no matter how strong we think we are, nobody is meant to do life alone. You see, one day, our youth will fade, or strength will weaken. Our hands will wrinkle, our steps will slow, and our hearts will crave companionship, not applause, not achievements, not money, just love. To the woman who says, I don't need anyone. I can do it all by myself. I pray you never live long enough to test the emptiness of that belief. Because when your knees grow weak and the world grows quiet around you, it won't be money that holds your hands, it will be love. And to the man who mistreats his wife, who believes she is not part of his real family, remember this: your strength will not last forever. One day, you will need the very people you ignore today. To the youth who waste their time chasing pleasure, refusing to plan, and avoiding responsibility, know that old age is the most unforgiving teacher. When the years pass, you will wish you had built something lasting, something bigger than yourself. Because at the end of it all, it's not titles, money, or success that will fill your heart. It's faces, voices, and memories. The people you chose to love. And the people who chose to love you back. Months later, one morning, I woke up and didn't see Baba at his usual spot. His nylon sheet was gone, his tools were missing, and the space where he always slept looked painfully empty. The security guard told me quietly, "Baba fell sick last week." Some people took him to the hospital. I never saw him again. For days, my heart ached. But I was comforted knowing that, at least in his last days, someone cared. Someone shared a meal, a word, a smile. And I realized, the greatest gift we can give anyone is presence. Because sometimes, the smallest kindness can heal the deepest loneliness. Life is not meant to be lived alone. Relationships are the true wealth of existence. Treat your loved ones with care. One day, they'll be the only ones who remember your laughter. Use your youth to build love, not just success. Money may fill your pocket, but only love fills your heart. Never ignore the lonely. Sometimes, your kindness is their only light. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring life lessons and moral stories. Let's spread compassion one story at a time.